Audio test. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Audio test. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So the audio seems to be fine, and the connection quality
check.
looks
1,
good.
2,
3, 4. Perfect. So the audio seems to be fine, and the connection quality
check.
looks
1,
good.
2,
3, 4. So we'll be starting at about 5 minutes after the actual start time, so everyone can get in. If they set a notification up, they'll get that email and join in. Thank you all for coming to this. I'm very excited to present to you my flat earth model and go over a whole bunch of flat earth science. Notification up, they'll get that email and join in. Thank you all for coming to this. I'm very excited to present to you my flat earth model and go over a whole bunch of flat earth science. So if anyone wants to get the free app for Android, you can check the links in the description of this video. That's kind of the whole purpose of this live stream. I want to show off the flat earth model and also explain a lot of the science behind flat earth using the model to make these really comprehensible. Hey Tony, you're from the last live stream. Nice to see you back again. Thank you. Explain a lot of the science behind flat earth using the model to make these really comprehensible. Hey Tony. So you guys will see the agenda in the top left corner. So if you end up leaving, feel free to come back, and the slides are marked with numbers. So if there's a specific spot you are interested in, you can easily see that. And because this will be pre-recorded, everyone who's missing this can also skim through the video and see how that's all working. So awesome. We're going to start then in about 5 minutes. I'm just going to get a drink of water and I'll be back. See that, and because this will be pre-recorded, everyone who's missing this can also skim through the video and see how that's all working. So awesome. We're going to start then in about 5 minutes. I'm just going to get a drink of water and I'll be back. See that, and because this will be pre-recorded, everyone who's missing this can also skim through the video and see how that's all working. So awesome. We're going to Awesome, guys. Thank you. Let me just start the Spanish transcriptions. So I found out I actually have a larger Spanish audience than I realized. So I'm hoping that okay, good, it's working. So thank you all. My name is Steven. I'm the developer of the Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth model. That is the main presentation I want to present to you all, but then I also want to go over flat earth science. So you can see the agenda right up there in the top corner. So we're going to go through that to kind of stay on track. But if any of you have any questions at all, feel free to put it in the chat. That's going to stay up on screen so we can answer your questions. This model is absolutely fascinating because it is accurate and it's a perfect educational tool. So my name is Steven. Professionally, I am a software developer. I've been doing that my whole life. And for about the last 5 years, I've been a flat earth researcher. I find the flat earth sciences to be absolutely fascinating because it's the intersection of a whole bunch of different fields. Hello, Kim. Hello, Elizabeth. Hello, London Nut. Thank you all for coming. I find it absolutely fascinating that people want to learn about this. And if you don't know, there's a free app. So check the description of this video. If you have Android, you can download the free app. Now, if you have iOS, hola, Andres. I'm hoping the Spanish transcriptions are gonna work out quite well. So if you guys are not watching this in 1080p high def, please do that and put it right up on your screen because we are streaming in high def. Now, a lot of you might not know this, but I live way out in the jungle. So I'm on solar and my internet is through a point-to-point. It's about 10 kilometers to the tower. So if the connection drops, I apologize, but I'll be right back. It happened in the last live stream 6 hours ago, but I was only down for 5 minutes. And the way the stream seems to work, it'll buffer, and it seems that everyone had a great experience. So again, I apologize if this cuts out. It'll be right back up in 5 minutes. So let's go over flat Earth. So in making a flat Earth model, I had to quantify everything because it's not just an animation in something like Blender or Adobe 3ds Max. This is a quantified mathematical model, and that's how I'm able to know the height of the sun. That's how we're able to plot multiple observers and just do stuff that the globe can't do. And I'm actually very proud to have this software that I made, and that's why I want to share it with you all. So again, you guys are all free to disagree with anything. You don't have to agree. For example, I believe Polaris is about 6,216 miles at the top of the firmament. And what this model did is it allowed me to get real life observation. So as we know, the sun's analemma, we can go outside ourselves, look at it, and see it. So let me show you right now. I can open this up. So this is what I call the D3 date cycle. So the time hour is staying the same, and only the day is increasing. Now we see the sun's analemma, so we know that this is an accurate model. But where it gets interesting is we can start to see the wandering stars. There's about 5 planets that don't have the normal orbit, and you guys are probably all familiar with wandering stars. That's what I found so fascinating about this, because we can see how they're actually climbing up and down the dome firmament. Now this is important because we can't see these planets and wandering stars 24/7. They're not constantly visible. However, the sun is. So because the sun's analemma is accurate, we can therefore conclude that the rest of the celestial mechanics I did is also accurate. And that's what's really, really fascinating, because we get a whole different understanding of how flat geocentric cosmology orbits are. Now, I think that's very important because spherical geocentric cosmology is the globe, and you got to be very careful when you're Googling geocentric cosmology. So, for these orbits here, I found it absolutely beautiful, and you just get a completely different understanding of the world we live in. Now, let's go back. So, we were on slide 2. Let me also start the transcriptions. So the sun's analemma is a way to quantify any astronomical model. If my model could not do the sun's analemma, you would absolutely, and you should, call me out on it. But luckily, the celestial mechanics of flat Earth are well known. So you guys might be familiar with the Flat Earth Pro app. I think it's $3 on the App Store. It's also accurate, but it's a bird's eye view, so you're limited to a lesser understanding. So what I did is I wanted to make a flat Earth model that allows the full 3D navigation, so you can kind of see how everything works. And then one very, very special thing that I can do that for some reason no one else has done. That's one of the big bragging rights. Let me show you. So you can do this in the Pro version. You can plot a second observer. And it's interesting because the globe can't do this. I don't think it's possible. And no, like, for example, you guys are familiar with Stellarium, Sky Safari. There are astronomical models, but they only give you the first person view. So they'll show you something that looks like this. They will never let you actually zoom out to see how the world really works. So that's one of the ways where I expanded on one of the major limitations, where we can now plot multiple observers. Now, if you've had the free version of this software, the Pro version is on sale, so it's 30% off. You can check the links right now in the video description. It'll be active until tomorrow, but after that it'll go back to the regular price. I just want to have a couple sales right now because I am extremely excited to have this model. So I think we're going to... Is the sun inside or outside the firmament? So it is on the firmament, not above or below. So I'll explain why we need that, but it's dome refraction. Let me just go a couple slides up. So I'm going to go to this slide in maybe about 10 minutes. But for me to have a quantified flat Earth model that I can argue that it is accurate, I needed to have celestial objects on the firmament for the dome refraction. Now, if you're a biblical cosmologist, though, you can have up to 7 firmaments from my understanding. So this isn't necessarily a limitation, but it's also important to realize that our perspective sun is inside the firmament. Now, my biblical understanding is not the best, so I'm trying to explain it with the best I can. But what we see, the sun we see, is inside the firmament. So right here, where's my sun? That's my sun. That's inside the firmament. But to get the dome refraction that allows for a lot of the cool stuff, like the sun to behave that way, and for me to know the height. So let me do something as well. So see right here, the sun is 4,016 miles of vertical altitude above us. Now, the only reason I know that is because we have a formula for the firmament. So that's why it's very important for me to have that on there. When you publish the source code to your claims, now no MC2. Thanks for actually joining. But I can't publish the source code, but what I think I will do is publish like a mathematical way to quantify this for any observer. But the source code itself is worth about $15,000, and a lot of it's the graphics, the user input, being able to search for locations. But I do want to publish a paper where we go over how this actually works. Let's go back to the magnetic field. So a lot of you may be familiar with the Earth's toroidal field. The concept of radial toroidal fields coming out of Mount Meru is not completely unheard of. So in the model, I made sure that we can do this. Now, why it matters is it helps us understand why we have an equator, why perspective changes when we're on different sides of this field. So let me adjust the latitude. Let me go over here to this guy. If I put the latitude to 0, you'll see how we are exactly in the middle of the torus field. And then as we go farther, it pops out on the other end. So you can do this in the Pro version, and I think it's really cool because it helps us understand why it works that way. And as you all know, magnetic fields, it is the north center, and we have infinite south magnetic poles. When will you prove the cause of bendy light? I'm actually going to play a video showing the dome refraction in about 10 minutes. So you'll see the justification for the bendy light, and that's also why I place objects on the firmament. So let's go... Actually, yeah, we're at that part right now. So I think this is very important because it's where flat earth science should focus its progression on. So let's start this video. So you see how with domes, the iOS app, you can... Oh yeah, there's no sound. This is just a video only. But if you want to beta test the iOS app, there's a link in the video description. We got our Apple account approved. So thank you all for purchasing the Pro version, because those of you who purchased the Pro version, other people now get the free iOS app. So it's actually a really beautiful thing. Oh, sorry. Sometimes I'll just mute my mic because I think you can hear the ambient background noise. Awesome. So yeah, that is dome refraction. Now, I have a playlist on my YouTube where I think it's called Flat Earth Science. There's a whole bunch of these videos, and it's very, very interesting. So let's go to the next slide. It's important to recognize that people who believe in the globe are not stupid. There is a valid justification for believing that there's a physical curve, and also a valid reason for believing that there's an angular resolution limit. Can the app help me understand 24-hour sun? Yeah, I can show the 24-hour sun. So in my model, I do believe there is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, so we can show that as well. What I want to do right now is just show a very quick video on what I'm talking about right here. It is part of a 3-hour lecture and I'm only going to play the first few minutes of it, but I think it's very important. I want to show the type of videos that are in my playlist and the type of flat earth science that you all should also be focusing in as well. So let's start that here.
I will lay out the issue from the outset. The loss of information at our horizon is either an optical phenomenon or a physical one. If it is physical, people disappear by walking over the curve. If it's optical, people disappear by the angular resolution limit of the observer. Option 1, the ground is brought to your eye level. The person disappears from perspective by walking straight away, vanishing bottom first, from things getting smaller with distance, and an angular resolution limit. As you can see in the diagram, the eye line stays level, the object is getting smaller with distance, and the horizon is brought to the eye level, designated with our yellow and purple lines. Option 2, the eye is brought to ground level. The vanishing person is represented orthographically without regard to perspective, and your focus continually shifts downward to observe them going over a curved surface and vanishing at the same rate as the angular resolution limit of the human eye. Within the diagram, you can see that the horizon is now brought downward to ground level. The eye line shifts to observe an object physically going over curvature. Perspective effects and angular resolution are ignored. After reviewing the above options, we will see how the optical angular resolution limit of the human eye was replaced by the physical curvature of the Earth, and we will then use the angular resolution limit to calculate a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles to 3,978 miles.
So that's a 3-hour video that is definitely worth watching. Now let's go to the next slide. So the Firmament Trackers model, that is a free app that I want everyone to have. I started developing it in about April and finished it in November. So over those 7 months, I put a lot of work into it, and it's going to be a long-term project. So we're going to continue to iterate over it. And if you have ideas for other features, you can also suggest that. So we're on the App Store, Google Play. Download it for free. Follow along. If you want to get the pro version, there's a whole bunch of features, and we're going to play a 7-minute video coming up that will be an introduction on how to use this app, because it is actually very complex. So I put together like a 28-page PDF help document that you should all definitely read, but the 7-minute video should give you a very nice understanding of that. And yeah, I want to say thanks. The fact that 10 people have already purchased Pro, even though when you download the free app it says wait until November 9th to get it, I find that completely fascinating. And then there's the academic version. So that is what I've been using on my computer. It'll run on your iMac, it'll work on your desktop, and it has a whole bunch of advanced features. It's extremely powerful. You can plot unlimited observers, you can trace everything, and that is $20. So if you're interested in that, the link is also below in the description. And I want to take time to mention the importance of computer security. With a lot of rumors of flat earth apps being hacked, I'm not sure if it's been confirmed, but for me, because I am a senior developer, I've been doing this my whole life, we implemented OAuth. So I don't store your password, and even your GPS, we use network location. So a lot of you guys might not know this, but whenever you connect to the internet, every website gets your approximate location, usually the local internet exchange. So it'll be the major one. Yeah, so you're right. The Gleason map does say that there won't be a 24-hour sun. Now, that's his opinion. Alexander Gleason, I think, who made that, he might not have believed it. And up until 2017, I think most people didn't believe it either. But as flat earth science progresses, I think it's important to try different stuff. Now, I can show you why I believe there'll be a 24-hour sun. Let me just take a minute to get this open here. Thank you, MC2. And yeah, security is important. I definitely don't want to go through what other people are going through with their apps. So let me go right here. So I'm going to spend about 5 minutes explaining why I think there'll be a 24-hour sun. So when we're at the North Pole, Polaris is straight above us. Now we know that the declination of light is about 1 degree for every 69 miles. So based on observations that we have made ourselves, for example, I've never been to Antarctica, so I don't necessarily know what's going to be there, but I can see how my perspective will be declinating, and then see how when we get to about negative 80, we can see the path of the sun. Let me go right here. So the reason we have these little domes in the model is that it shows you the star trails and the perspective. So those lines are the path that the sun will take in your perspective. So because this is correct for the northern hemisphere, observations that I've confirmed myself, I can be confident that this is going to be correct for the 24-hour sun. We can see here what's happening. Now, this is just my prediction. I could be wrong, but I want to at least make a prediction and see what we should expect. Because if I'm wrong, all that means is that the Eric Dubé style model is correct and that I did something wrong. The Earth remains flat regardless. We just learn more about how the science of our flat Earth works. So I hope that explained why I'm expecting a 24-hour sun, because we know where the sun will be. So if you see in the left-hand side, the declination is negative 17, it'll be about negative 22 in December. So what that means is the sun will actually be higher in elevation than it is right now. So the angle, let me see the angle. The angle's 7 degrees. But in December, it'll be a little higher. The Gleason map could be wrong. All I know is my model and the math behind that. But I'm just looking at my Gleason map right now. You are right. Alexander Gleason didn't believe there'd be a 24-hour sun. So we are now on the 4th section of this. And if you guys have any questions as well, let me know, as I can also go back and remodel anything. Yes. Oh, hey, Will. Nice to see you. Yes, I do think there'll be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And the actual sun will be visible. So let me just go back here so I can show you. I'm glad you tuned in, Will, because I really like what you're doing with the final experiment. I want to know which flat Earth model is accurate. Let me adjust the font on here so we can get it looking a little nicer. Yeah, so let me go into the first person view. So yeah, facing south, that is where the sun will look like. Well, actually, no, let me set the date to December. Hold on. December 20th. And let's adjust the time. Yeah, so sun will be about 16 degrees facing south, and then if I was to face north, let's see what the flat Earth model predicts. I think I have to even look higher to see that. So I don't know if we ever actually see the actual sun. So going back, I know you're just joining us now, but I was explaining dome refraction and how I believe that the sun is on or above the firmament. There could be up to seven. But what I believe is that the light shines through that, and that's what causes, for example, the light to bend around. And dome refraction is a very new field of flat earth science. It's not that popular yet, but it's one of the things that I think people should be focusing the future research into. So I don't think we ever actually see the actual sun. We only see the dome refracted sun. And I don't know, I'm curious to see the videos that you guys take in Antarctica. I want to learn more about that. So the Vibes of Cosmos plasma moon map is another very important thing that we should be looking at as the future of flat earth science progresses. A lot of you may know it is the theory that the moon is a literal map of Earth. Actually, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yes, translations did stop. For the Firmament Trackers model, a lot of you guys have been asking how to use it. So I said there's a 7-minute short video. We're going to play that right now before we go on to the fourth part of this live stream.
So when you first load the app, it'll do a network
location. So it knows that I'm in Belize. Now you can use these joysticks here to move around and then adjust your views, play around with all the settings. You can see I'm hoping the touch screen is showing you what I'm doing right now, and we can now adjust some of the time at the top. So see here how we're going through the days. I can touch all that stuff. I can click on the, hold on, let's turn on some of the astronomy stuff so I can see the sun. I know it's going to rise at 5:50, set at 5:20 p.m. So it's really cool. Everything's turned out really nice. Everything's performing really well. Graphics, top quality. The wandering stars and planets are real, and you can tap on them to see, okay, that's Mercury. So I know that Mercury will be kind of right behind the sun. You can have the planets menu. So right here, this is only going to show on the pro and academic versions, and it will show what's in your perspective right now. Now remember, not all the planets are visible, but it is important to start realizing that they rotate around us once every 24 hours above us on the firmament. You can see the angle of elevation from the horizon, and you can get your compass. That's what the azimuth means. That's your compass direction. So you can start seeing planets such as Mars that are visible in the sky because they're a lot closer than we've been told. The location autocomplete search is one of the pro features. So I can type in any location such as Turk and see what comes up, click on it, and go to there. So see how my location just completely adjusted like that. And then I can now adjust the time and see everything accurately from that perspective there. Search up any location you want. So Union Glacier Camp in Antarctica is a really cool example of a place that we can go to on the flat earth model and set our prediction. So you see how we are negative 80 latitude, negative 82 longitude. So I have no Wi-Fi, no data, and I'm going to load the app. It's important that you know this works offline, so you can take it with you camping to remote places, and you'll still have the full set of features. That's awesome. So see, I'm still offline, and we can move stuff around, adjust stuff. Everything still works perfectly fine. To adjust the font size of your app, it's this A button in the bottom right corner. You can then lower the font size to something more comfortable. And same with the icon size as well. You can adjust those so that your user interface can look nice for however you want it set up. And then whenever you go to close, it will save this and then load it in the next time you start the app. Remember that the free version shows you the height of the sun. That's that button down here. So as we cycle through the months, we can see that the sun is going up and down the dome firmament. These are not numbers that I just made up. These are the actual calculations. You can even increase it day by day and see the small changes as the sun adjusts in altitude. So for people who have hypothesized that the sun is increasing and decreasing in altitude throughout the seasons, they are absolutely correct, and we can now prove it with this model. One touch will move your camera around, but two touches is how we can zoom in and zoom out. So let's do this and go out. See that? And then that's out, and then if we want to go in, it's like that. You notice that performance is slow. You can use this gear option down here to adjust the graphics level. So I'm going to go higher, which means it's actually going to lower it. So you see how stuff's becoming more and more blurry? So see how now it's very, very blurry. But that might be what you need. If you're on an older phone, I completely understand that, and that shouldn't stop you from being able to use this model. So if you are finding that the performance is slow, because remember, this is an astronomical model, there's a ton of calculations going on, and then the graphics rendering it itself, it's like an Xbox or like a Game Boy, you know what I mean? It's a lot of visual stuff going on. So you can always adjust that and it'll save. Demo videos are up at the top. So see that camera icon? Now the D means date only is increasing. So that'll be the same time, but we go over the days. So that'd be the sun's analemma. The T means the time's going to be increasing. So those are cycling through the full 24 hours. But you can choose one that you want and then watch as what's going to happen. And then just double tap the screen if you want it to stop. Now, I'm aware that there's not that many. I want to implement a whole bunch. But please feel free to look at what's there right now and be aware that I'm going to be adding probably 10 more because I think this is just so cool. Multiple observers. That's this menu up here. So you can search for a location or plot by click. Let's see what happens if I type in Egypt. So I can now click Egypt and we'll see that a second observer has been plotted. And what's really cool is that it now shows the sun and moon for that observer. And you can do some amazing flat earth science with this. No other model can do this. And it's accurate as well. You can still adjust the dates around and see when only you will see the sun or when you both will see the moon. This is what's really cool about this model.
Awesome. So let me get everything back. So no, this is not globe geometry. There's a few areas that people get confused on. So a lot of people look at this and see our perspective, the spherical field of vision, and they think that's a globe. I want to show a video going over that, I guess, right now, because even the globe astronomical models still show this outer dome, and it really has nothing to do with the geography of the surface you live on. These are just observer-centric observations. So if you guys are watching this in 1080p, you can see on the left-hand side here where we have yeah, so it is right ascension and declination. I believe these are observer centric observations that have nothing at all to do with the globe. So this is like me going outside seeing that the sun is this angle of elevation, and then over the years these have been put into celestial almanacs that give us the observer centric observations needed to do anything. So I think it's really cool. So right ascension and declination, let me explain that. So these are not terms that I am making up. These are terms that astronomers have chosen. So declination is how high or low something is on the firmament. So in December, we have a declination of negative 23. So the sun's on the lower half of the firmament. And then let me change the month. January, the declination's negative 20. And now it's negative 11. So you see how we're climbing up. Oh, I changed the time by mistake. Let me change the date. So you see how we're climbing up the firmament. Declination is now 0, meaning that we're on the middle of the firmament. And consequently, it's the exact same thing for our spherical field of vision. Right now, the declination is 0, meaning that it would be on the middle of our spherical field of vision. Now, I think this will make a lot more sense if I play a quick video showing stellarium, and you guys can kind of see the limitations of globe models, and it's the multiple observers as well. If globe models could have multiple observers and do what I'm able to do, they would have a better argument. But I actually, and you too, MC Toon, if you might know this better, globe astronomical software such as Stellarium or Sky Safari that will plot multiple observers. So I'll show you what I mean about that. Where is my sun? And that astronomical is and question, because it shows that the person asking either is any globe astronomical app will show this exact same dome that I have. We just zoom out so you can see the whole world. But it can be confusing. So over here on the right side of the screen, I'm using Stellarium, and I placed us in Toronto, and that's where the top left observer is on the flat Earth model. So you can kind of already see from the right hand side, there's a little dome above us here, even on the globe app, because we see in a spherical field of vision. That's just how it works. Now, in Stellarium, you can't zoom out because the globe, they're only limited to one observer. Because if you take, for example, the flat Earth model on the left-hand side and try to wrap it around a ball, you can't zoom out to show people how the world really works because the world flat with a dome over us and everything's going around. So that's why on the flat Earth model, when someone's first presented to it and they see the bird's eye view, something that the globe just cannot do, it really impresses them, and they're wondering, okay, what is this? How does it work? And I can show you. It's not really that complicated. So you see how the sun here is going to be to the right of the observer. So I can go into the like exact same thing the globe does, because that is your perspective field. This is how you see. And then if I look to the right, will the sun be there? Where is my sun? Okay, yeah, my sun's right there. That's my perspective. And then on the globe app, if I look to the right, you're going to see it. That's just how perspective works. Now, what an astronomical model such as the flat Earth can do is we can then zoom out, and you can now see, okay, where is this light actually coming from? How does the sun shine through the dome firmament, and how does the dome refraction end up putting a light to each observer? Now, to be clear, the globe model doesn't even attempt this. They don't even have an argument. All they do is just first person views like this. So you see now how we're in Ukraine, and then according to the flat Earth model, if I look to the left, we'll see the sun should be just rising. And that is correct. You see that the globe
can replicate the flat earth model pretty well. So they know that the sun is there, but they can't actually tell you that, okay, it's this high.
Awesome, everyone. Let me start the Spanish transcriptions again. So I hope that explained the justification for why I believe I have something very special. Google Earth doesn't do multiple observers, and even the geography as well. For example, Bing Maps, Apple Maps, they don't even have GPS for what's called like the North Polar projection. Even if you believe this is a globe map, they can't do GPS. How come I'm the first person who can do GPS? Let's upload a KML or a KMZ file. So if you're using geographical software, you can export a list of a whole bunch of locations, and I can plot it on this software. So this is one of the reasons why you're going to want to buy the academic version of this software. Being able to plot GPS and see a lot of just a different perspective that you can't do. No, I don't think Google Earth does infinite observers. And no, I looked for the AE polar projection on Google Maps, Bing Maps, and Apple Maps. They do like the rectangle Mercator map. They don't want you to see how the world really looks. So even though they could, no, not on the flat Earth map. That's what you're not understanding. MC Toon can stay here. Don't kick him yet. In general, he's one of the more respectful Globers. But I think he just misunderstood. So the North Polar AE projection, Google Maps can't do that for GPS. Apple Maps can't do it. And my software can. So that's one of the features of the academic version that is absolutely fascinating. So let's go on to the fourth section of this live stream. This is where I'm going to start focusing my research on in the future, the plasma moon theory. So the idea is very simple. You look up at the sky, you see the moon, you plot the continents you know, and you have a map. One of the reasons why I like this is that it solves numerous problems that we're limited to with the standard Gleason model. One is Australia. So on the Vibes of Cosmos moon map, we have Australia matching the geography of the globe. Now, this matters a lot because if we want to use the Gleason map, what we have to do then is say, okay, Australia actually is that size, or we got to do like a north-south latitude Lorentz length contraction. So the Vibes of Cosmos plasma moon map also solves some other stuff. We don't have to deny the magnetic pole shift. So that's why this has to be a separate app that I'm going to make. So what I plan to do is make the Vibes of Cosmos plasma moon model. Now, a lot of you watching are very familiar with this research. It has to do with the black sun and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's going to be the next thing that comes out, and I'm super excited to do that. Now, if you like what I have and you want to support me, because remember, I don't get paid $50 million a day like NASA does. I'm just a guy doing this on my own. I have a $70 Christmas special. So it's a whole bunch of my products. Normally it's $95 if you bought all this individually, but you can get it for $70 and save $25. So it's this map actually back here. It's a large Gleason canvas map. I can show you that right here. And it'll be shipped free probably anywhere. It's high quality and it comes with a hanger. So I think everyone should have flat earth maps hung up in their house. It's really, really cool. And then the academic version of the software is $20 and the flat earth science textbook is $50. So if you want to support me, that's the Christmas special I'm having until December 1st, because I just want to make sure it all arrives. Now, we have a group called the Firmament Trackers, where there's a whole bunch of us who are senior flat earth researchers. The private group will take a while, we screen everyone, but you can join the public group and I'll probably just approve you as soon as I see your request. It's a really cool group. it's hard to find educated and intelligent flat earth groups that are moderated on Facebook where there's no trolls and it's people actually trying to get a better understanding of the universe. So I encourage you all to join our group. There's 28,000 of us. Another thing is the Flat Earth University course. We're an online school, and I have to redo the course. I want to make it a lot more simplified using the model, going over a lot of this stuff, but you can enroll for free, and when I actually finalize the course, you'll get a notification that will allow you to join. Now, what should we focus on now? There's something controversial that I do have an X, and people have asked me to make like an X space, so I can do that. I think I'll look into doing that because I want to be able to stream, I guess, in multiple places. Let me just get a drink of water. I'll be right back, and then we can start on a very interesting and controversial thing, because I'm looking at the future of flat Earth. Where are we going to be in the next 10 years as science progresses? Okay, so a lot of you guys would reject gravity if you're using the floating disk in space model, for an obvious reason that the gravitational vectors would point towards the center of mass, and that's not what we observe in real life. However, you'll notice that in my model, I have us on an infinite plane. And what happens is the spread of mass does allow us to have perpendicular gravitational vectors. So in my opinion, I see no reason to deny the force of gravity. Now, the theories of how gravity happens, we're still learning about that. There's no standard model for it, and science is going to progress. But simply put, this downward vector is nothing really to reject. And I think it's important that we include this in our flat earth science. The very best example that I like is using buoyancy. So you get like a helium balloon. That's this top right diagram there. You get a helium balloon, you let go of it, and it's going to accelerate upwards. And you can measure that. So you get like an accelerometer, and you see how fast is the buoyant force, or how fast is the hydrogen balloon going up. Now, the interesting thing, so let me get out my notes. I have a workspace where if I type notes, it should appear on screen. So the mass, what is the mass of this hydrogen balloon? It would be 0.089 times 4,000. Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. My internet did cut out. I am in the jungle, yes. So I'm glad it connected back. I hope the stream quality remains good. Yeah, sorry, I forgot I had the mic on when I cough. I actually have a sore throat. I've been actually kind of sick lately, being up late nights, preparing for all this stuff. But thank you guys for being here. So the final thing I want to talk about is controversial anyway. So the people who left, it's not too big of a deal, but I'm glad you guys are back right now. And this will be pre-recorded as well. So because I never stopped streaming, I'm pretty sure if you refresh YouTube, you can actually go back and see when I had to pause and take a break. So let's get this back and let's go back to what I was talking about, because I think this is important. So we know that the acceleration will be equal to, force divided by mass. And we know that we have two forces now. So what that means is we can look and see what is the buoyant force. The buoyant force is 51 newtons going up, and if we include the gravitational force, it's now 47 newtons. So that gives us two different measurements. Let me clear up the space here so we have more room. So 57 newtons, that would mean acceleration 1 is going to be equal to 57 divided by whatever 0.0, let me check that, 0.089 times 4, 0.35. So the mass is 0.356. And then we have acceleration 2, 47 newtons divided by 0.356, and up here 0.356. And we're going to end up with two different accelerations. And this is how I came convinced that there absolutely is a downward vector of about 9.8 meters per second. Now, the reason why, for acceleration 1, if we do not include gravity, we're going to get an upwards acceleration of 143 meters per second. And then if we include the gravitational force, it'll be 47 divided by 0.356. And that's about 130 meters per second. Now, you don't have to trust me. You can do this yourself and see. But I think that's very important. And also, once we start looking at gravity, we have to start looking at infinite planes. So there's a lot of stuff such as Gauss's law of gravity you can look into. But it's important that no one actually thinks they're on a floating disk in space. That is more of the 2017 style model. But I feel like it's always been a joke, though. I don't know if people actually believe in it, but then no one's actually said they believe in an infinite plane. So I do believe we live on an infinite plane, and it allows a lot of the observations to end up working well. So I think I explained everything I wanted to. We covered the 9 points. Now, if anyone has any questions, you can still feel free to ask. There's been a lot of really good discussion in the live chat, so I'm happy to see that. Let me make sure it's also going to be up here in the video. So yeah, we want to have the live chat showing when this is pre-recorded so everyone can see the questions and go through it. So again, the free Android app is on the Google Play App Store. You can download it now and play around with it. The Pro app is 30% off for today and tomorrow because I'm just very excited and I wanted to do a sale. Now, the academic version will always be $20. If any of you want to purchase that, there's also a link in the description. For iOS Apple, I think that'll be coming this month. So if any of you want to help me test that, because I don't have an iPhone and none of us in the Firmament trackers, I already ordered the book but would love to get a discounted Pro app. Yeah, so the Pro app's 30% off right now, so definitely do that, and the sale should last till tomorrow. If you do miss out on the sale, let me know. But the Pro app's extremely cool. It lets you do the multiple observers. It lets you do like the location search autocomplete. It's really, really cool. Now, is there anything that you guys would want me to cover? I think with the flat Earth model, it's really, really cool because we start to get an understanding of how the world works. How do you buy it? Check the comments of, or sorry, the description of the live stream. There will be there's like a whole bunch of links in the description, and you'll see one that says 30% off Pro version. So you can just click it and download it on Google Play. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. Let's look at sunrises and sunsets, because I think that's something that's really cool, and this model helps us understand what we actually see in real life. And you can do this on the free and pro version as well. I just use the academic version because I have like a large screen and I'm often doing that. The geometry. Well, the geometry is just right ascension and declination. So if you believe that is globe-based, I guess that's your problem. But I believe it is observer-centric measurements. And then in the Celestial Almanac, we have the collection of all these observer-centric. So it actually has nothing to do with flat Earth or the globe. This is just people looking up and seeing, okay, the sun's here. So if I check what the flat Earth model says, we see the sun is actually out of my perspective. Let me lower the font size again. Let's raise the elevation. So you see how the sun is 4 degrees from elevation. Now you can go outside yourself and take a look at this and it'll match all the observations. And then the other part of the model, let me unfocus myself and go to a bird's eye view, is the location of the actual objects. Like other people now, for example, if they look up, this is called the solar noon or the zenith as well as another term. But for all the celestial objects, I just calculated where the zenith would be, and that's how we know where they will be in real life. Now, this is where right ascension comes in, because right ascension is measured in 24 hours. Now, the reason for that is because everything moves around us once, like, a day. So it works out really nicely on flat Earth, because right ascension tells us the initial location of where it will be, and then if you guys are watching in high def, you can see the longitude position. So right now it's 160, 100, going down to 90. So this is as stuff moves around. So that's how it works. I have a couple short videos that go over a lot of the celestial mechanics. You guys may enjoy it, and it'll also kind of cover what we're talking about. Awesome. So I hope that explained the 1 degree for every 69-mile relationship that we see on both the flat Earth and the globe. That goes back to that 3-hour lecture I was talking about earlier. I encourage you all to watch it, to see why globe people believe what they do, and to also see the math behind flat Earth, because both add up and work pretty well. So on my YouTube playlist, there should be a public one called Flat Earth Science. Definitely watch that. And I think I covered everything I wanted to. Before we end this live stream, is there any questions that people have? MC Toon, you asked a lot of good questions. Yeah, so I'm very excited to start the next app. This is what I can start focusing my time on now. But again, this will always be a long-term project, because the whole reason I even made this model is because I get asked the same questions over and over and over again that I want to explain in a very good way, and it does a lot of stuff. So in the Firmament Trackers group, we'll have like moon events where we will all go outside, take a picture of the moon at once, and I plotted that on here. So I think if you have the free version, you can probably find that. And there's just so many little features that me personally, I wanted to add in. And if you guys have any features that you want added in, we definitely can as well. This will be a long-term project that I continue to work on. So yeah, thank you all for attending this live stream. It's quite late for me. Normally I'm in bed asleep by now, but I wanted to add the 2 time slots because I'm very thankful for anyone who's supporting me and allowing this flat earth science to continue. So is there any questions anyone has before we stop this? And yes, I'll publish a paper going over essentially the flat earth model. I don't want to give my code or my graphics, but I think it'll be really powerful that people can see the quantification of this model, and it's really cool. So if you click on the different planets, it'll pop up in the top corner the height. So we know that Uranus is 5,244 miles above us. This is the Uranus zenith. If someone was looking straight up and they saw Uranus above them, it would be 5,000 miles. So it's really, really cool what I did. There's one actually final thing I want to do. Eclipses. I forgot to do that. So let me clear all these locations. In the Pro version, you can click on the projected lunar eclipse or the solar eclipse, and it'll automatically set your location to there. So the way eclipses are predicted is using something called the Soros cycles. Now this only gives us the day, and it's like a pattern. It's like 28 years, 14 days, something like that. But that's what I implemented here. But then we go one step further. The way that we get the exact timing of eclipses on the flat Earth model is by looking at the intersection of the orbits. So those of you who study Eastern cosmology, you may be familiar with the lunar nodes and the idea of Ketu and Rahu, but the intersection of these are well known, and that's what causes an eclipse. So if we were to adjust the time, let me see, those orbits will end up getting closer and closer. Now I can probably program a better way to do this automatically, but this is how, at the moment, I can tell you the exact timing of an eclipse using my flat Earth model, expanding on the Soros cycles. So yeah, right now there'd be an eclipse at this exact time, and then let me see how it looks. Yeah. And then also, just like with the lunar eclipse as well, with that we know that the sun and moon will be on opposite sides, and we get kind of the coffee cup caustic. The sun wraps around and causes that there. So let me show you what that looks like. I have a photo I can pull up quickly, because lunar eclipses can confuse people, and I may be wrong, but I want to at least put forward an idea that allows me to quantify this flat Earth model and explain the observations that I make in real life. So the lunar eclipse is through the coffee cup caustic, and there's a lot of people that have been doing research with real domes and shining flashlights through it. And that's that top photo on the right up there. One of the other senior flat Earth researchers, has been shining flashlights through domes and coming up with amazing hypotheses that I've been testing and confirming they're accurate. So that is how that works. Let me see if there's anything else to show you. I think we're good. Yes, thank you all. I'm very happy that you all enjoy this. It's very, very cool what I created, and I hope this ends up becoming a very, very popular app. Once I get better at marketing and stuff, I'll probably get a larger audience. And then once I get the Apple iOS app out, a lot of people will enjoy that as well. So check the links in the bottom of the video descriptions. You can see everything I'm offering. Again, if you want the Gleason map, you can individually get that for $25. Amazon sells it for $35. This is a 60 centimeter by 90 centimeter, so it's actually a good deal what I'm offering. And then the academic version, $20. And then if you want my textbook, I found myself having to explain a whole bunch of stuff over and over and over again, so it just got to the point where I wanted to write it down and then I can reference it quickly. That's where all these screenshots are coming from. So seeing everything in a 3D environment is completely different. Being able to track the orbits of planets is also fascinating. So my favorite photo is this one that I showed you at the start. We see the sun's analemma, we see the wandering stars. It's so cool. And it's nice because me as a developer, I get to see the finished result of this, and I can zoom around and see how everything's working, and it's so cool. Now you can only do this in the academic version. It'll be too slow performance on your phone if you're trying to do that. So thank you guys. I think we're done here. So if you guys have any questions, you can email me. My email's in the bottom. All the links are in the description of this video. I'm very thankful for all of you who tuned in. I did 2 live streams today, so it's been quite a lot of work. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.